Shalom WJC family. Time for our weekly Torah Talk. This week in Shul we'll be reading Parshat Tavo as the book of Deuteronomy is winding down and the new year is approaching. We have this cryptic passage. Many people are familiar with it. It appears in the Passover Haggadah. It says, when you come to the land that I will give you, you should put all your first fruits in a basket, bring them to the Beit HaMikdash, or to the place that I will show you, God says, which we now know is the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Jerusalem. Place them before the Kohen and recite the following speech. My father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down to Egypt few in number, etc., etc. God brought us out of there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. And then, the part that doesn't appear in the Haggadah, and brought me to this beautiful land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and therefore I bring my first fruits to you today. So the passage is meaningful on many levels. First of all, it's about the first fruits, which we bring on Shavuot, and yet we recite it in the Haggadah on a totally different holiday, Passover, one about the Exodus. Shavuot is about the harvest in Israel and bringing our first fruits, so it makes more sense there. But it's a nice summary of the Exodus story, and it links the Exodus story to our success in Israel, ultimately leaving us with this beautiful act of humility, this act of sort of bringing the first fruits. It's a way of saying, the rabbis teach us, that everything belongs to God. You know, as we learn in the Psalms, all things on the earth belong to God. We are merely borrowing them or taking advantage of the resources and cultivating them to create our crops or our homes or whatever it is we might be grateful for at any given moment. It's the reason why we give tzedakah, right? That this wealth is not ours. God put it in our hands so we could use it to help God's creation. Creatures and those in need. It's why we celebrate Shabbat. We recognize that this whole world is God's creation, and so we desist from using it for one day and rest in the way that God rested, just to enjoy the bounty and abundance all around us. This concept is a centerpiece of Judaism, and it's a center, and that centerpiece is highlighted by this first fruits ceremony. So ubiquitous is it, so important is it, that it's laid over onto Passover, as well as, of course, the ceremony itself, which is from Shavuot. But I also want to say, as the high holidays approach, that this concept is relevant in the high holidays as well. Because what it says is, not only is all of creation God's, but we are God's, right? We are God's children. We are God's servants. That's how we come to God on these high holidays. And this Saturday night, a week and a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah, when Rosh Hashanah falls early in the week, the Saturday night, really 2 Saturday nights before it, we do our Selichot services. When it's later in the week, we do the Selichot services on the immediate Saturday beforehand. But these Selichot services, literally Selichot are like pardons or apologies. They are our way of sort of getting into the high holiday spirit. Beautiful prayers and psalms sung. We have a beautiful Selichot service here that we'll have on Saturday evening. One of the very powerful ones that we start saying here at Selichot, and these songs and prayers and psalms and hymns come up again and again, especially on Yom Kippur. We use these Selichot prayers, but one of the most beautiful, and I won't sing it for you because then it won't sound so beautiful, but when sung, it's so gorgeous. HaNeshamah Lach v'haguf po'alach, chusa al amalach, HaNeshamah Lach v'haguf shalach. Adonai aseh leman shemecha. The soul is yours, the body is your work. O Lord, have compassion upon your labor. The soul is yours, the body is your work. O Lord, save us for your name's sake. And so even we talk about the first fruits on Shavuot, how we're grateful for the bounty of God's crops. We use that same idea of this formula to remind us of that on Passover, that because of what God did for us in the Exodus, we are indebted to God. But now, even on these high holidays, the ultimate sort of lesson in humility is given to us, which is that we too are God's creations. We are God's creatures, and we come now, our soul, our very soul is fashioned by God, and it's like putting our soul in a basket, putting our heart in our hands and coming to God and saying, look, you made me the way I am. Take me back. Take us back. Help us see the best in ourselves, the way you created us to be the best version of us. Help us see our path in the world, the way you encouraged us to follow a path, to have a tafkid, to have a task to accomplish in the world. Help us be aware of what that tafkid, that task is. Help us be aware of the talents and the tools you gave us, like we pray every day, that God has provided for all our needs. Help us see how we ourselves are enough to meet our needs and the needs that God intends for us, that the world requires of us, that our fellow human beings demand of us. It's this beautiful introduction into the high holiday season, and it's all related to this idea that everything is God's, even us, even our neshama. And I hope that as we start the Selichot services on Saturday night, I hope you'll join us, or if you're watching from someplace else, you'll go to your local Selichot prayer Saturday night after Shabbat is over. And I hope you'll be able to start that journey of exploration of our connection to that which is greater than ourselves, because we are part of the whole that we call creation, and that we have a creator. And that, as we celebrate creation on Rosh Hashanah at the beginning of the year, the anniversary of creation. In the meantime, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.